Should we move on to Clowney? We haven't talked about Clowney. It's been about 24 hours since we've talked about Clowney. And we've debated ad nauseum whether they should, whether it's smart. And I think we kind of agree if the price is right, why the hell not? So that's not the question. The question is, do you think this is realistic at all? The Niners don't leak things. That's John Lynch's whole thing. When he's in pursuit, he wants no one to know unless he finishes the job. Is it possible? We've heard that the Saints want him. The Saints have less cap space than the Niners. I mean, that's where everyone thinks he's going. They have less cap space than the Niners. The Titans want him. He doesn't seem to want the Titans. There's a couple of the teams that are like waiting, so reportedly interested, whatever that means. The Niners haven't been reported as being interested. Is it possible they just come in at the last minute and swoop? I mean, why did they reduce Tom Compton's salary today? Am I reading the tea leaves wrong here?
I mean, I think I'm the only one that is not a fan of Clowney unless he's coming in very cheap.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we're going off of Antonio Brown locker room problems, I think Jadeveon Clowney has the on-field effort problems, maybe not 100%. And yes, when he's playing those 40% of snaps at his all-pro level, he's very dangerous, as we saw last year on Monday Night Football. But I would avoid Clowney and rather use that cap space, as I said yesterday, and maybe get a veteran week 4 or week 5. AJ Green, who knows what the Bengals are doing at that point? I'd much rather bring in AJ Green or a different veteran at that point.
I see. Save it for a wide receiver. But again,
or another defensive lineman that's cheaper and you know what you're going to get. Olivier Vernon, he's kind of expensive, but maybe he'll take a pay cut if he was traded here.
Okay, but again, not should they, will they? And I think it's a fair question because yesterday he was asked straight up on KMBR. Brian Murphy asked John Lynch, are you guys potentially interested in Jadeveon Clowney? And he didn't say no. He said, we're out of cash. We're up against the cap. We're just out of cash. That's what he said. They're not out of cash. They have almost $10 million in cap space. It's more than the Saints have. And the Saints seem to be the favorite to land this guy, which means that what? I mean, you can get him for a low cap number in 2020. What's going on there? Is it possible if the Niners are having real covert talks with Bus Cook, the agent, and Clowney, they're looking like, oh, so you're interested in the Saints offer? They can't be higher than ours if we have one. So is it possible tomorrow we wake up and say, oh, Niners got him?
I think it's possible because you listen to Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, they're always looking to get better. If they feel like Clowney's an upgrade, which you take into consideration Eric Armstead, D Ford, Nick Bosa, it's a talented defensive line, so he's not necessarily an upgrade over any of them specifically, but he makes the defensive line better. And just because we're so deep into the offseason, this season's a week away, I don't see Clowney signing a multi-year deal. It's going to be a 1-year deal, in my opinion. And from his perspective, what's a better place to go to than San Francisco?
Yep.
You are on a championship caliber team, further than you ever gotten before in your career. You aren't the focal point of the defense, the pass rush, like he was last year with Seattle, where he had 3.5 sacks. He had a sack and a half in the playoffs, people forget. He was very effective in the playoffs. Now you pair him with Nick Bosa and D Ford, Eric Armstead. You line him up like a chess piece all over the defensive line. Mm-hmm. He's going to have a career breakout year. He'll have one-on-ones almost every single defensive snap. He's not going to have a 3.5 sack year in San Francisco if he came here. He'd get up close to double digits. And what is the end result? He gets that big contract that he wants so desperately bad. Mm-hmm. So that's why, from his perspective, you're not getting as much money as you could with a team like Jacksonville, who's not a contender, but the trade-off is you're on a championship contender. You're in a position to succeed both from a team and player perspective. And if you put up the numbers are going to translate to a big contract. So what's not like if you're Jadeveon Clowney?
And it seems to me that that's the reason why the Saints reportedly are attractive to him. They don't have money to spend on him. They have like $7 million in cap space. But it seems what he wants to do is get paid next year. So play for a good team this year, maybe not get overused, don't get hurt, win a championship, or be seen as a crucial cog on a great team, and then resuscitate his market value and get paid next year. So if the Saints qualify, then the Niners qualify. They're like the same team. They're in the same exact position. So if Bus Cook gauged interest in the Saints, he'd need to make a call to the Niners and be like, are you guys at least interested? I mean, the Saints are, and they have less cap space than you. And I would have to, as if John Lynch is honest when he says he considers all players and always wants to make the Niners better, he would say, well, let me talk to Parag and Jed and get back to you. Fair enough, right? Let me see. I don't know. I mean, we don't have a lot, but let me see what we can do. And they just created a million more. Who? For what? I don't know. I mean, I don't know that they're necessarily going to get him, but I think that they're leaving themselves in play. I think they're in play. I think they're firmly in play, and I think that they're maybe negotiating, not with words, but letting them know, hey, man, now we got 10 million. Is 10 enough? It might not be enough. Maybe he can get 15 from Tennessee, but if you'd rather play for the Niners, we got 10 for you. What do you say? I don't know. It's up to Jadeveon. Who knows how Jadeveon Clowney thinks?